Welcome to episode 5 of Best Perspective. We are reviewing round 4 today. My name is Caroline Ma.
And I'm Matt Hill, and we've got one round to go, but let's get into reviewing round 4 results.
Yeah, so we had a great game with Perth Power against the Canberra Freeze this week. I think it was one of the most exciting games of the round.
Yeah, definitely. Every set went to Universe, basically.
Yeah.
So awesome. Like, that was the reason we made the 3 sets for games like these.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was very exciting. I think in particular something that stood out for me was the MVP of last season, Alex Shepherd, really putting his stamp on the game this week. I don't think he's been as impactful in other games. In particular, I think he threw maybe 4, 5 hammer goals, something ridiculous. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later with a special guest.
Yeah, just to correct, he wasn't MVP. He was the stats leader and the fantasy leader.
Apologies.
Yeah, Peter Blakely.
That's right.
Don't want to get confused there. But yeah, so Canberra, we will say this. Canberra were up 3-0 in the 2 sets they lost.
Right.
And yeah, then lost the game. So really, it was in there. It's theirs for the taking to win, but Perth got the win.
Shows how much can happen in 20 minutes. Very exciting.
That's right, yeah. Complete comeback in 2 sets.
Absolutely. And we'll move on to the second game was the 2018 final rematch.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think maybe a slightly disappointing result for the Flames. They kind of got pumped in the middle there. 6-2. That's a pretty rough thing to go down against a team that you beat last year. Obviously, there's a lot of differences in the roster. Sydney, we've been saying the whole time, they're just looking extremely dominant. I think in particular this week, Kaiwea had a really, really good game. Look in the top 5, she's just skying people left, right and centre.
Yeah, Catfill mostly.
Catfill mostly in that game. So I think she was really making an impact. I think I've also been really impressed by Dave Andrews. He's just very athletic, just sees an opportunity, sends it to the end zone and is just there ready to catch in the box.
The raging debate of the better Andrews.
Yeah.
Did they replace him with a new and better model?
Who knows?
So far, might be looking like that.
Yeah. So it was the battle of the Andrews this week, and Dave did come out on top. On the Flames side, I think Andy C had a very, very good game. He got these 2 incredible layout blocks to save possession, but to be honest, the Flames looked fatigued in this game. I don't know what it was. Maybe they just couldn't really get their chemistry going. It's 4 weeks in. They were struggling to complete easy passes, so even incredible plays by C like that didn't really help them this week.
Yeah, and they kind of saved face a little bit by getting that last set on the board, but Sydney just proved their dominance in that second set. Quite a thrashing, and then it's not as important for them to win the third. Really, at this point, I'm sure they would have liked to, but there was more required from Melbourne to kind of get that extra point and stay in the hunt for finals.
Definitely, I think a comment I want to make is I think the Suns are relying on a lot of people at the moment sometimes, especially Evans, Latamatos and Tom Regacki, and I think that's fine, but I think at this point when they're just ripping through their opposition, I'd love to see a little bit more play from really valuable players like Danny Alexander. I think she was getting cut off in the stack a little bit, and it's hard because they are winning, and potentially it is off a lot of their players carrying more of the load, but I think their team has such depth that they could play a little bit more even style ultimate.
Yeah, when you've got the players like Sarah Wentworth and Danny Alexander.
Yeah, I just would love to see more of them, and I'm not really seeing that at the moment. But like I said, they're winning games, so maybe that's their objective, and that's fine.
Yeah, and the potential weakness coming into the finals that another team could exploit. So maybe something they need to look at just in this final round to involve them a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And the final game, and it's happened. Brisbane, you've been talking them up.
Yeah.
They really just proved why they were one of the favourites at the start of the season.
This was an incredible performance by Brisbane. I actually backed Adelaide to win this off their win from the Flames, but they were my initial champion in the start when we tipped. But I think that was something that really struck me watching this Brisbane team this week, was they were playing some really nice, for a lack of a better word, egalitarian ultimate, where everyone was just getting involved. Everyone on their team was just doing their job, and I think that you saw it in the Sydney and Melbourne game. There were lots of times where the field, everything would just go up one sideline and people would get really stuck because I felt like everyone was crowding whoever had the disc. You just didn't see that at all with the Brisbane Breakers. Everyone is able to break the mark very easily. Everyone has trust with whoever has the disc, and they just have such a depth of throwers that they can really open up that field. And I think this is the first game that we've really seen them just utilised their depth, which was really awesome to watch.
Yeah, definitely during the draft, I questioned some of their choices. I thought they were very thrower heavy and almost too much that way. But I mean, as you're saying, everyone is a threat with the disc. Everyone can break it. Everyone can move it around the field. So you and Tam, that's why they're the coaches.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
not.
it. So,
they knew what they were doing.
Looking really good, I think.
If they can make the finals.
If they can make the finals, which we will discuss shortly. But I think, Liam Goodman had a really good game. He was, he talked about in an interview for this week that they really valued having fun, and I think that's what it looked like out there. The Brisbane were just playing really good ultimate and having a fun time. I think Ava and Dom, two great throwers, had a really good game this week. Rosa Wang had a really strong impact this week, and I think that's really awesome to see. She's been a bit quiet this season so far, coming from the Melbourne Flames victory last year. Definitely, I especially enjoyed her just telling Brett Matsuka where to go and then trying to put it to him, so that was really awesome. On the other side, I think Adelaide also played kind of well, but it's hard when Brisbane are playing such good ultimate and it doesn't reflect on the scoreboard, but they had good moments. Di Woman in particular had a good game. I think there was a bit of connection with Michaela Dunmore going to the end zone. She also skied a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm happy to admit I was wrong with that selection as well. I questioned that decision picking Di Woman with number 1. I thought she'd get picked, but I thought number 1 maybe not. But no, she's definitely proven her worth. And I'm happy to admit I got that one wrong.
Yeah.
So well done, Jonathan Warren Wright and Anna Ogaki with that selection.
Absolutely. And Mike Kelly, the late ring in, been very, very solid for this Adelaide team. I think he's just consistently playing well every week, so that's awesome to see.
Yeah, and not surprising that he's been picked on the Mondays recently. Like, he's really kind of stepped it up lately. Great. So we'll look at the ladder now. Now, this there it is. Sydney on top, 4 wins. And that's kind of the simple part, and then it gets confusing from there. Although at the bottom end, Canberra and Adelaide can't get into the final. So they're both on 1 win each. The logjam in the middle with Brisbane, Perth and Melbourne, they're all in there, 2 wins each.
Pretty exciting.
With chances final. We'll get into who can make the finals a little bit later, but it's really interesting. This round is going to be huge.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on to the stats. Kind of similar names, and we've got, after 3 games in, we started to see who was there leading the way, and not much has changed round 4. So Rosie Dawson's still up there, leading the goals. I think we move on to assists. Still Tom Regaki. He's getting further and further ahead.
Yeah,
the gap just widens every week. He gets a couple more goals than everyone else, and that gap's just widening.
You also just see when Sydney play, anytime he gets the disc, he looks up, his eyes light up, and everyone just shoots deep. And that's, why wouldn't you when you have a throw like that?
Yeah, but I mean, it's been his game plan for 20 years.
Right.
Like, surely teams can work out that Tom's going to throw it long. So I mean, he's not receiving as much as he used to, particularly when he's got such weapons as receivers on the team. So just put a straight up mark and
go tell the coaches
hang someone
that.
deep. No, as I said, they're winning.
Exactly.
They're winning, but maybe it's because no one's stopping Tom. That's what I'd be looking at.
Yeah, recommendation.
Who have we got this week? Canberra. Yeah. Canberra.
Could be done.
Stop Tom Regaki throwing goals, and you'll probably win.
Awesome.
And then going on to the blocks, and Pete Ely still leading the way. So same leaders going through there. Moving on to fantasy, though, we have got some changes.
Ooh.
Nugs still on top.
Newcastle Nuggets.
That hasn't changed. Now, I know Chris Stoddard is trying to rally for the Newcastle team to when Newcastle have a team in the AOL next year. He has suggested that if the Newcastle Nuggets
he would just ditch the Melbourne Flames if
fantasy,
he goes.
that will be the team name. I don't know what the AOL will think about the Nuggets. Representing Newcastle, but
it's noted.
We have been taking your recommendations on board. Doubt it's going to happen though. Sorry. But the big move this week, Sarah Middleton, top scored. Team Spiller on the ladder, if we go back to that. So she's made a jump. She was in the top 10. I think she's 4th now at the moment. We checked there. Yep, up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. So top score. So you've won a beanie or a disc. Let us know. I know you've already bought a couple, but now you've got another one. So someone tagged Sarah Middleton in the comments below, and Sarah sent us another email, and we'll get something to you.
Absolutely.
Competition time this week. Once again, you can win yourself a beanie. You don't have to have entered the fantasy competition. All you have to do is share the AUL top 5. And you have to hashtag AUL best perspective. And we actually have a winner this week.
Yes. The winner for this week is Mandy Lee. So, Mandy, to claim your beanie, please email us saying that who you are, and you can get one of these amazing beanies to wear.
Yeah, and don't just, if you are not manually, send us an email and pretend you are, because we'll make sure that the email checks out.
Yeah.
But Mandy, I know you'll be very excited about a beanie.
Yeah.
So send us an email. So this week you can win the beanie. Just as I said, hashtag AUL Best Perspective and share the top 5.
Beanie's doing very well. Greta Murdoch was sporting both the Melbourne Flames beanie and the Adelaide Dragons beanie
Yeah, I
this
don't know
week.
if she lost a bet there or what, but
Yeah.
no, she loves the beanies, and I have heard orange is her favourite colour.
Right,
so
exactly.
That might be where it is.
That could
and
be
they,
you.
They did get beaten. All right, we do have a special guest this week. We did mention his name earlier, he is leading the blocks in the AUL from the Perth Power. Studio audience, give a round of applause to Peter Ely.
Hey Matt, hey Karen. Thanks for having me.
How are ya?
Yeah, very well,
Welcome.
thanks.
Yeah, you are losing your shoulder a little bit there. You might have to scoot.
How's that?
Yeah, look at
Much
this.
better. That's it. Nice
This
and
is
crazy.
a fancy setup we have
Yeah.
here. All right, so Billy, you are third on the ladder with Perth Power. You've played both seasons. What's been different about the Perth Power this year compared to last year?
I think this year we're more dynamic. I think I'm seeing more of people you wouldn't expect to get the disc, receiving it under and doing something dangerous with it. I think we've got a few different deep looks as well. So I think that's been our biggest difference with the Perth Power this year. We're a bit more of a dynamic unit, and I think that's down to Viv and Max picking some really good draft picks and selecting some great players this time around.
Yeah, you had quite a turnover, particularly in the women from last season. So a lot of new faces. Any particular you want to, like, Simo's been catching a lot of goals.
Simo was the one I was going to say.
Yeah.
We actually started playing together, Simo and I, when we started playing back in 2007. We started at the same time. So we're
2007.
we're very old friends.
What were you doing in 2007, Karen?
Oh, I wasn't born, so yeah.
So Simo Ryan, love her, great player, great teammate.
And you've both gone on to represent Australia
Yeah.
and represent the Perth Power, more importantly.
We represented UWA Ultimate as well back in the day.
Excellent.
Awesome. You got a question for Peter?
Yeah. So, talk about this week, this game against Canberra. How'd it go? What do you think?
So the game against Canberra was interesting. There were moments in it where I thought we were cooked, you could say. We were 3-0 down in the first and the third set. And when you're in that point in this league so far, I'll tell you, like, in these 20-minute games, it's hard to come back. So and the fact that we did it twice, I think it's a good demonstration of our resilience as a unit and how much we wanted it this round. Because there's a final spot on the line, so we wanted it this week. But it was an interesting game. Very close.
You're down 3-0 in only 20-minute segments. What changed? Like, how did you claw that back?
We just kept the pressure up. I think when you keep the pressure up in this environment, mistakes happen, and you saw that on the weekend. Like, people who don't usually make mistakes were making some critical errors. I think Lavis or Gav, one of them dropped a chest pass at a pretty crucial moment. I don't think I've ever seen either of them do that.
Right.
Yeah, very experienced team in Canberra.
Yeah.
And tactics going in, anything the coaches kind of...
Yeah, so Viv and Max are quite clear that our tactics are going to be forcing people into an environment where they're not comfortable. So we're forcing people who usually receive goals, your Hannah Montes and your Scott Perrys, to get it under, and we're forcing the other people who you'd usually expect to be behind the disc and force them deeper. And I think that sort of worked in our favour a bit.
Yeah, we got the win.
Yeah.
So you have been probably... I'm going to say the most inconsistent team so far. I mean, Brisbane lost early and have come good, whereas you had the huge upset at the start, beating Brisbane, lost a couple, won this one.
I actually prefer to use the word exciting.
The most exciting.
We are self-proclaimed the most exciting team in the league.
Okay.
And, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, everyone's on the edge of their seats, including yourselves.
Including myself.
Okay, well, we're going to preview this upcoming round. Oh, and Pete's still there. Awesome. Okay. But before we go into it, I want to talk about the situation with who can make the finals. So Sydney are locked in. They're in. They've got 4 wins on the board. They've got 13 points currently, which both Brisbane and Perth can equal. But if they do, and Sydney happen to lose their match, Sydney are going with 4 wins. They've got a win ahead. So they're in, guaranteed. So Sydney siders, book your tickets to the final. October 13th. Tickets on the website. October 12th. Saturday, October 12th. So Sydney are in. There are 3 teams that can make the finals. So Perth, Brisbane and Melbourne. So Perth, if they win in straight sets against Adelaide, which I'm actually tipping them to do, we'll get to that, they're in. That's it. Even if Brisbane win straight sets against Melbourne, because Perth beat Brisbane in the head-to-head, Perth will go through. So if Perth win straight sets, that's all I have to do. Easy to work out. That's it. It's done. Sydney, Perth final. They can still make it if they win 2-1. Okay? If they win 2-1 and either Brisbane win 2-1 or Melbourne win 2-1, Perth will go through to the final. So that's where it gets a bit more confusing. It's easier if they just win straight sets and then you don't have to work it out. If they lose, then whoever wins out of Brisbane and Melbourne, they're in. Okay?
I'm confused.
Everyone confused?
Everyone's confused.
Basically, Perth have to win in straight sets to win.
Yeah.
Okay? If they lose, whoever wins out of Brisbane and Melbourne go in.
Yep.
Basically, all those three teams try and win in straight sets and you're in.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
We'll release an article on
we
the
got
AOL
it.
website
Great
if
explanation.
that didn't make any sense. But Sydney versus Canberra, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, Canberra at this point can't make the final. I think Sydney are just going to roll through them like they have been with everyone else. I don't think the Canberra side is deep enough, so I'm backing Sydney to go up 3-0.
I totally agree with you, Caro. It's 3-0 for me for Sydney as well. They're just too strong.
It is a bit of a dead rubber. You don't think they might just chill, save themselves in a couple of weeks for the final? Canberra have got nothing to lose.
I would even say, I think even if they chilled, they would take it 3-0.
All right, no confidence in Canberra or a lot of confidence in Sydney. I am going to tip Sydney 3-0.
Yeah.
Even though I tried to make a case for Canberra, I think Sydney are too strong.
Prove us wrong, Canberra. Prove us wrong.
Okay, Adelaide versus Perth. So, Pete, this is your
This is a
match.
Perth 3-0 easy. This is our spot for the final. I think we'll come away with it. We've been a bit inconsistent this year, but I think we're coming up good. So 3-0 Perth.
Yeah, cool. I think playing at their best, Perth have this. Adelaide have maybe just been building. I feel like their connections are really coming together and they're able to put some points on the board. But I'm thinking of a 2-1 Perth win, and I'm really backing Perth to get into the final. It's going to be very exciting.
Okay, all right. I'm also tipping Perth 2-1.
Yep.
But we'll have to see what you think of the next game to see if they make it into the final. So, yeah, I'm saying Perth. I think Adelaide will get a set and they'll be close to a second set.
Well, you're wrong, so that's cool.
They'll actually be close. That's my tip. Okay, Melbourne versus Brisbane. So, if
Yes.
Perth lose, winner of this game goes through. If
Yes.
Perth win, which we're all tipping they will win, okay.
And Brisbane wins.
Straight sets they go through. Cara, you think Perth will go through, which means what do you think the result of this
But I think that Brisbane will win against the Flames.
2-1.
2-1.
Right.
Yeah. I think that they're just looking so good. If they play how they've been playing, there's no way that Melbourne can beat them. I think Melbourne are just looking pretty weak and relying on too few people to do too much work. Brisbane winning, Perth going through. I'm a Perth Power supporter, so got to back him.
So am I. I don't want to agree with you again, but to me, Melbourne look tired this week. They'll be tired again this week. When they lost G and Tom, that was like a huge loss to their team. So I can't see them getting any sets against Brisbane. Brisbane were firing this week, and they're going to come out firing this week as well. So I reckon 2-1 to Brisbane. Melbourne will win the first set.
What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, I think Brisbane straight. They'll win all three, which means Brisbane make the final in my tips. So I think Perth will win 2-1.
You're wrong again.
I think Perth will win 2-1. I think Brisbane will win in straight sets. That means Brisbane will go into the final ahead of Perth and ahead of Melbourne, obviously. Yeah.
No, that's wrong because Perth win in the head-to-head against Brisbane and Perth.
But they're on equal points at the moment. So if Brisbane
Win
gets straight
3
sets, that'll be a point.
I see.
One championship point.
Read the article, Karen.
get it. I'm
Read
so
the
sorry.
article.
I'm
It's
so
all right.
sorry.
It is a bit confusing. But yeah, Brisbane, they just look too strong and dominant against
Yep.
Adelaide. As you said, Melbourne haven't really been getting it together the last couple of weeks. And so complete turnaround from Brisbane. I tipped them to win early matches. They lost. I went right off them.
You did,
Now
yes.
I'm back on board.
Back on board.
But they're proving it. And I mean, Melbourne definitely have the team to win and make the final, but it just doesn't look likely going in.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
we've got 3 teams vying for that final position. It's going to be a really interesting round for round 5.
Yeah. Billy, any final thoughts? What do you think about the Best Perspective Studios?
The studios, they're beautiful. The facility here is quite incredible. I'd like to give a quick shout out to the video work and the editing of the pictures and just the timing of them coming up, because that's been world class, I would say.
Yeah.
Right. Shout out to Amanda Fong, who's doing that for us today.
Yeah.
All right, Cara, anything else?
Yeah, just if you're ever not sure, just remember we've got the best perspective.
Good night.